can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
Hey, how we doing out there? Once again, all across this great land and around the world, it's that time for the Conservative Syndicate. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And boy, yes it is an exciting week, all right, guys. The ominous cloud of progressivism has ascended upon the city of brotherly love. And right off the bat, boy, if you thought, everybody was talking about the fact or the belief that the RNC convention was going to be just this comedy of calamity, okay? And it was just going to be so much division and so much rowdiness and so much hatred and everything. And I want to tell you something. I was watching one of my favorite documentaries out there that comes on Showtime. They just started back up. It's called The Circus with former Democrat strategist Mark McKinnon. And one of the things they were commenting about was how calm and peaceful the Republican convention was, and how little discord, chaos there was outside of the Ted Cruz dust up and some protesters. I think irony. They were out there. Some commie club was out there burning flags and set themselves on fire while they were trying to light the flags or something like that. But other than that, it was pretty mellow. Dark and divisive, as Hillary Clinton said, but that's all perspective. But lo and behold, Joe just tells me here as the DNC kicked off today, it's anything but peaceful, and the sheep are not falling in line. So, what were you telling me, Joe, before the show?
Oh, gee, John, let's see. They had an invocation that was given by, I don't know, some female.
I'm here. U.S. Representative Marcia Fudge.
Marcia Fudge?
Yeah, I'm just looking at here. Speakers at the Democratic National Convention were met by boos and chants in support of U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders on the first day of the event.
That's correct. They came out, the Rules Committee came out, and the lady who was in charge of that was trying to tell everybody, and she said the name Hillary Clinton, and they just erupted.
Yeah.
They went to town, and I mean, and it's typical. It was just like, wow. It was like watching somebody, it was like watching a school principal trying to take control of an assembly in high school with an unruly crowd. Yeah, you better listen to me.
Well, then they've taken up where they left off in 2012 when they removed Israel or tried to remove Israel from the Democrat platform, and what's his name, Villaraigosa had to actually just override the chance of the people to listen, shut down Israel, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was even worse than that, John. That hadn't even started doing anything.
Well, they've had 4 years to crank it up, I guess. Since
they haven't started doing anything of substance, and this is how bad it is. The Democrats thought that they had to. It was so bad that they had to form what they called a unity council, so they could get a Sanders rep and a Clinton rep together and come to and speak to the members, the delegates at this convention.
Well, I kind of thought yesterday, I was kind of floating through the news yesterday, just channel surfing in between some other things that I was watching. And there was, these reports that there were demonstrators already down in Philly, a couple hundred demonstrators marching around, Bernie Sanders people. And I thought, boy, I wonder if this is a preview of coming attractions. And apparently this is going to be something to watch.
Well, these people act. I mean, they definitely have a reason to be upset, John. I give them credit for that. Although they're upset about, oh darn, I feel bad for them. They feel burned, but yeah, all puns intended. But they have a reason that they were, quote unquote, this democratic process wasn't so democratic.
Yeah. Yeah, the people that tout democracy over republicanism, and every single thing indicates that they've done everything they could do to suppress that. And we were talking. Joe and I were talking before the show here, and I was just telling him I was watching this on the over the weekend. The series was on CNN because I guess everybody was heading down to Philadelphia. And it was called The 60s, and one of the documentaries was on the 1968 Democratic National Convention, and there was a lot of the same thing going on. A lot of the same thing in terms of how Humphrey ended up getting the nomination. Bob Kennedy had it almost locked after his win in California.
Yes, he did.
But he was assassinated that night, and it was all about superdelegates and how it was all geared towards Hubert Humphrey. I think the other guy was it McGovern or McCarthy? They had some Eugene McCarthy, I think.
Eugene McCarthy, yes.
Yeah, he was I think number 2 behind Bob Kennedy. So everybody thought, okay, after Bob Kennedy was assassinated, and there was some fascinating stuff in there that I had not known personally. How anti-civil rights the Kennedys really were, and that in and of itself. In an earlier documentary, they were talking about. Martin Luther King was arrested, and it turns out, believe it or not, Richard Nixon and Martin Luther King were good buddies. Of course, Martin Luther King was a Republican. A lot of people don't know that. And Nixon was trying, this is during his campaign against Kennedy in 1963. And
1960.
I'm sorry, 1960. And Nixon was trying to pull strings to get King out of jail. And it turns out that somebody on the Kennedy side picked up on this. They went and talked to Jack Kennedy and got him to get King released. And Bobby Kennedy was livid. Apparently, you guys have just blown the whole campaign. We have pissed off every white governor in the South. We're never going to win this thing. And the only reason Bobby Kennedy actually picked up the mantle of the civil rights movement was because he realized Jack Kennedy won the election by 120,000 popular vote and only 2 electoral votes that came out of, where else? Chicago.
Illinois, yeah. That was Sergeant Shriver was the guy that tipped off and stood there and got with Jack Kennedy alone when he got him away from all those people. And he said, hey, we got to try to do this. Just make a phone call. Make a phone call down there and see if you can't make a difference. Just because, hey, we want to look like we care.
Yeah. And
and that's what the Democrats have been doing their entire existence. It's not that they truly care. They just want to appear like they care. They want to have the appearance that they care.
Yeah, we might pick up a few votes. We might get, some feathers in our caps. And it just turned out to be enough to put Jack Kennedy over the top and get him elected. And so Bobby Kennedy realized in 1968, wow, we got to go with this civil rights movement. We can get a vote. And they've been doing it ever since. It's not, I guess that's what Johnson meant when he said, yeah, we'll get these people voting for us for 200 years with the Civil Rights Act. Okay, so
he didn't use the word people though. He used that other word.
No, he used that term that just makes everybody's hair go straight. When they hear it, and
derogatory term, and he used it because they were uppity.
Yeah. So just amazing stuff. Now, what are we going to do here? We're coming up on our first break, and what I want to do when we get back, I want Joe's review. He went and saw Dinesh D'Souza's movie over the weekend, Hillary's America. And I want to get a rundown on that because that ties in very much to what's going on here right now. History, I learned a lot this weekend historically about some of the events in history in the 60s that I had not really, were not really deeply embedded in my thought process. And so we'll have Joe probably reiterate some of the stuff I learned over the weekend, but certainly give us a good review of what this movie was about. So stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
We are back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we were just mentioning before the break, apparently all is not well in Philly. The land of brotherly love doesn't sound anything like the land of the city of brotherly love. If what we're hearing already, day one of the DNC convention, just amazing here. I was just looking at some quick articles out there during the break there, and there's all kinds of stuff going on down there, and none of it sounds very unifying to me. But having said that, Joe, you went and saw the movie, the Hillary's America,
yes,
over the weekend. Why don't you give us a rundown as to what stood out to you, and and whether or not you believe it's worth viewing.
Oh, I think it's definitely, and if you have, I think it's definitely worth viewing. And if you have any Democratic or liberal friends, or progressive friends, or socialist friends, however you want to, because those phrases are all interchangeable, and so you should take them to this movie, and they should see this movie. Because it's not only about Hillary Clinton, it's about the history of the Democratic Party itself from its very, very beginnings and roots. No pun intended. At the beginning with Andrew Jackson. Most people think it's Andrew Jackson. The Battle of New Orleans. Yeah. I don't want to get to the slave-owning Democratic President Andrew Jackson, who, because the Democrats are not for slaves. The Democrats never had slaves, right?
Right.
Only Republicans had slaves. Yeah. So no, Republicans didn't have slaves, and it went from the very beginnings, and it got up to where we are today with Hillary, and why. What's the scheme? What's the point? What's the story? What are they trying to get to? I mean, we always ask that. What are they up to? What's their ultimate goal? And I think De Souza has it done fairly well. The ultimate goal is to steal the entire nation. Period. They want everything. They want everything you do. Why do you think they took health care? It was 1/6 of the U.S. economy. And what did they do? Well, they had to lie, cheat, and steal to do it. But that didn't matter. They did it anyway.
Well, okay. So what actually did he do the movie like he did some of the other ones, where he says he presents the arguments or the positions?
Well, he did the movie, and the movie starts out, shall we say, and I would recommend that if Mr. Trump gets elected, the first thing he needs to do is reestablish Dinesh D'Souza's voting rights.
Right.
Really, but if you go see the movie, you'll understand, because it starts out with Dinesh D'Souza's problems with the United States government and election campaign finance laws. And how this particular administration was absolutely, if you think there's no vendetta towards him, you're wrong. This administration went after him, and they took him out.
Oh yeah, well, you're talking about his incarceration, right?
Absolutely, they took him out. They wanted to make sure he did a movie that wasn't shedding a kind light on Barack Obama, and they took him out.
Yeah.
And you won't find anything written down saying we're going after him. We already know better. Just like you won't see anything from the IRS going after conservatives and Tea Party groups, but they did it.
Yeah. Well, they see a lot. I like the fact that movies like this bring out the fact from the fiction, and you look at things like perhaps understanding that one of the paradoxes, or one of the I don't know if paradox is the right word, but during our early times, our nation in its early days, of course, the South was really heavy into slavery. Their whole economy revolved around slavery. And we had, the situation here is that it was mostly Democrats that were slaveholders.
Well, yeah, it was mostly Democrats were slaveholders, but it wasn't all the South, though. You had folks up north that wanted slavery because it was an economic thing for them. And it went through the litany things. It went through the fact that basically. I guess. But the Democrats could not stand the fact that Lincoln was standing there saying that these people had the right to be free. These people had the right to keep what they earned by the sweat of their own brow. They were supposed to be able to eat. And if they could make it in the world, let them. If they can't make it in the world, don't let them, but leave them be. And so at the end of the Civil War, the South wasn't going to be able to withstand the North or the Union's economic might. And so what did the Democrats do? They shot Lincoln. They assassinated him.
Right.
That's what the Democrats do. So later on, what did we have? We had the 14th Amendment, the 13th Amendment, the 15th Amendment, and each and every one of these amendments was fought tooth and nail by the Democrats. They did not want any of these things, the right to vote, the right to equal justice under the law, and these things. And the Democrats were getting very, very nervous and upset because in the South especially, you were starting to have multiple black representation up in Washington, D.C., and that's when, what did they wanted to do? They invented the Ku Klux Klan.
Right. Yeah. And I was just going to say that a lot of people, in light of the fact, though, one of the stories I watched last week, I didn't think it was worth mentioning, but I kind of kept on my peripheral vision on it, is the announcement by David Duke that he's going to run for the Senate. Now, David Duke, everybody, remembers, he was a spokesperson. He was not the head of the KKK. He was a spokesperson. And everybody was making a big deal about his claim that Donald Trump, is helping the enrollment numbers of the KKK and everything else. And so, the media and the left is what they do best is they take the truth and they twist it and they spin it. And, of course, I bet if you went out there, if Waters from Bill O'Reilly went out there and asked people, what party started the KKK, they would tell you the Republican Party.
Absolutely, they would tell you that. That was part of the movie, because part of the movie is the big lie.
Yeah, and the KKK was founded, it had to be decades before the Republican Party was even established.
Oh, no. It was established after the Civil War. It was established after that. But the reason why it was established that is because I just explained. They were nervous because there were so many blacks, because they were voting and they were using their rights as American citizens to be free and vote, and in the South, and they were, they had to do something. The KKK was nothing but the military arm of the Democratic Party.
Right.
That's all they were. And so what did they have to do? They went out and they terrorized these people. So these people in the South, not only did they terrorize people, they made sure that when they enacted laws where a black man couldn't have a gun in his house.
Right. Yeah.
So you couldn't have the black man didn't have a Second Amendment right. So the KKK rolls up, boom, man. Hey, what are you going to defend yourself with? A stick?
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, obviously, Jim Crow, the black man couldn't vote. And to do this, 1864, there was a civil rights bill passed in Congress by Republicans.
Right.
Doing all these things for black people.
Yeah,
the Democrats fought it tooth and nail all the way up to 1964, when you said, as rightfully so, LBJ, we'll have these such and such is voting for us the next 200 years. Yeah, because he had to, because he knew he couldn't. They couldn't do it anymore. They had to throw them a bone. They had to do something. And so what did they do? They pander to him.
And that's what they're trying to do today. They're trying to take a situation and once again bend it in their direction.
Absolutely.
I think.
Why do you think today they, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, only look at her reflection, because if you look right at her, you'll turn to stone. Okay, so just don't look right. Reflection only. But what do they do? They couldn't let Debbie Wasserman Schultz gavel in that convention. She would have been wrongly booed off the stage. And you've already talked about some of the things going on at this convention. So what do? They get Baltimore's mayor Stephanie Rawlins Blake to go out and gavel it. Well, she goes out to gavel it, but she forgets to do one thing. What might that be? Actually use the gavel to gavel in the convention. Yes. So she goes out, but why would they pick her? I mean, this is the woman that said, if you need to break things, we're going to set aside a spot here in our community that you can go freaking crazy and break and burn things down. And Baltimore almost burns down to the ground because of this woman. Why did they pick this woman?
Well, obviously she was picked.
She's a woman. What's the other reason?
Oh, well, the other reason is because she lines up with the ideology. She's a true believer.
Oh, come on. Let's just get right down to it. What's the reason? She's black.
Oh, are you talking about Donna Brazile?
No. I'm talking about Stephanie Rawlins Blake.
Oh, I'm sorry. I lost track of what you were saying there.
Black. I mean, for crying out, these people have no shame. They don't care who they pander to, but they will come out and pander.
No. I was just I was a little distracted here because I'm looking at some of the things here, a list of things that are going on down there right now, and I'm like, wow, they've got a group down there called Democracy Spring. And they're blocking entrances to the subways and stuff like that, so people can't even get into the convention. And they got this unity. You mentioned it earlier. Some of the leaders in Philadelphia are trying to put together this unity committee or something. We're the city of brotherly love, for crying out loud. This is where the American experiment began. That kind of stuff. And what's going on here? And then the tweets I'm looking at here. Pastor who calls for nominating Hillary Clinton during the invocation gets 50%, 50-50 boos and cheers.
Yes, absolutely. I told you it was during the invocation. Of course, the invocation was rather special.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
The God of the universe.
The God of the universe.
Yes. Right there, the opening line, I was like, oh, here we go.
Oh, okay. So we didn't hear a voice coming out of the side or something saying, I am your father.
No. Ruth Bader Ginsburg did not come out. No, but I mean, it's just ridiculous. Oh, and so, and to get, and I'll get to part of this. I'll tie this into the movie part. But since Debbie Wasserman Schultz resigned, right? And here, let me just read what Hillary Clinton said about this. All right, she had to have a statement there, right? And here she go. Here we go. This is Hillary Clinton. I want to thank my longtime friend Debbie Wasserman Schultz for her leadership of the Democratic National Committee over the past 5 years. I am grateful to Debbie for getting the Democratic Party to this year's historic convention in Philadelphia. And you know that this week's events will be a success thanks to her hard work and leadership. There's simply no one better at taking the fight to the Republicans than Debbie, which is why I'm glad that she has agreed to serve as honorary chair of my campaign's 50-state program to gain ground and elect Democrats in every part of the country, and will continue to serve as a surrogate for my campaign nationally, in Florida and in other key states. I look forward to campaigning with Debbie in Florida and helping her in her re-election bid, because as president, I will need fighters like Debbie in Congress who are ready on day one to get to work for the American people.
Now, isn't this amazing? Let's look at it this way. Let's look at it the other way. All the hoopla that was made over Melania Trump's plagiarism at the RNC convention.
Yes.
And here we have a woman who is now known to have made this whole thing about Hillary one of the chief architects of keeping Bernie Sanders out of the picture, letting everybody think that, yeah, we want the voices, we want everybody to have equal opportunity to share what they believe, not equal opportunity to do anything about it, but equal opportunity to share their beliefs, did things that I'm sure as time goes on here, we're going to find out more and more things that she's done that were underhanded and everything else. She's running for re-election, and she's also being investigated for corruption. At the same time, this is all going on, and if this was a Republican, they'd be calling for public crucifixion. But what happens? Debbie Wasserman Schultz is being offered a job with the Clinton campaign.
Well, we must keep Debbie quiet, because if she tells anybody what she actually knows about what's going on, I'd have to maybe reduce my campaigning down to and suspend it before it got too out of hand.
Yeah, well, we don't want Debbie risking getting so depressed that she commits suicide with a bullet to the back of her head.
Or actually starts to talk to somebody. Well, the FBI is going to be doing an investigation into the email scandal. How's that make you feel? I feel so much better that the FBI is going to investigate it now.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, look, we got to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to be hooking up with our good buddy Bob Cardoso over at Robert Cardoso Live. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest. Who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923 and like them on Facebook and you'll be included in contest and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame he owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get the Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world, then bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too. So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474.
are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we want to hook up with our good buddy here, Robert Cardosa from Robert Cardosa Live. Let me get him dialed up here, and we'll get him online with us and see what he's up to today. He's over there right now doing his thing on his show. He streams the same time we do live, and so we'd like to do our simulcast. We're both live when we're doing our segments here together. He comes on Monday.
Joe Hakos. Hey, guys.
Hey, guys. What's up?
Hey, it's good to hear your voices in light of the fact that we're having World War III in Philadelphia today.
No, it's not like that, Bob. They love each other.
Hey, they're like cannibals. They're eating each other.
Well, yeah, I guess the city of brotherly love. It all means it all matters what is, huh?
Bob, yeah, you talk about cheesecake, or what do they call it? Cheesesteak, yeah.
Yeah, like they said there, this is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Yeah,
but you know what? I was going to actually open up a bottle of champagne when Debbie Wasserman Schultz finally threw in the towel today.
Well, she didn't go far, Bob. She's right there on Hillary's coattails because Hillary knows you want to keep these people close to you before they can go somewhere else and start talking.
Well, yeah, but the honest to God truth, Joe, is the only reason that she's right on Hillary's coattails is Hillary keeps her there because she's one of the biggest money raisers in the Democratic Party.
Well, one thing we just found out. Joe just was reading here just before the break. You get rewarded when you do things like Debbie Wasserman Schultz has done. And, she's being booted out of the DNC. She's being booed at the convention. She was booed out, shouted down. And you know what that got her? She's now honorary chairperson for the Hillary Clinton campaign, believe it or not.
Well, you know what's interesting? She was, I don't know if you saw the news this morning when she was before her own delegation from Florida this morning. Yes. She was booed off the stage.
Yes,
and she's running for re-election.
Yeah, yes, it kind of makes you wonder. Hey, the people over in the Texas delegate probably, hey, Ted Cruz ain't looking so bad now, is he?
You're a diehard, John. You're a diehard.
I look at her reflection. Do not look directly at her.
Yeah.
I'm not an overly religious guy, but I'd hold a cross in front of me if I did.
Well, she now qualifies for a job at MSNBC.
Yes, she's overqualified.
Maybe she could. Maybe what she needs to do is get some dreadlocks and then tell everybody she's really black. She can take over for Melissa Perry Harris.
Well, you know what? I actually thought she had dreadlocks for a while. She had that really curly hair. So I wasn't really sure. I thought maybe she just, like so many people have dreadlocks and just dyes them blonde.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, I mean, she is what she is, and we can't fault her for it, Bob. And she's gonna fall up on her feet, and she's
Joe, I'm celebrating right now. Don't give me a downer. I'm celebrating. I'm going to break out the champagne. If you were here, I'd give you some.
Oh, well, thanks, buddy. Hey, keep it chilled.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to now is Donna Brazile is taking over. And that's going to be even more fascinating.
Yes, isn't it though? Because, Donna has some lovely things to say about Bernie Sanders in these emails as well.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it interesting that all I'm seeing all over the news right now, and I just finished the news segment here just a few minutes ago, and all that's all over the news right now is that the Bernie Sanders supporters are still hoping and praying he's got a chance. I mean, he's done everything but give up now. I mean, I think that what's going to happen is those supporters are going to go where they belong, to the Republican side.
Oh, no, I don't think that's going to happen.
I'll bet you see a lot of it, Joe.
Well, that'd be fine. I'm okay with that, but I don't see that happening. I see them just going away or becoming doing the Gary Johnson ticket.
That'd be horrible. But I'll tell you what, wouldn't it be great if they just went away? Because according to everybody that I listen to, they say if they just go away and they don't vote, that's a vote for Trump.
Yeah, exactly. It all works against Clinton. It all works for Trump. But the Democrats are out there saying that Donald Trump was in cahoots with the Russians to make this all happen.
Can
I'm serious.
You know what? You know.
Well, I think the thing is, one of the things I'm just having a good time about right now is the fact that the Democrats went so far out of their way the last 2 days last week, Thursday and Friday, to talk about the unity that the Democrat Party was going to have, this and the dark and divisive narrative that was coming out of the Republican Party. And I was telling Joe, watching the program on Showtime called The Circus, and they were talking, these are Democratic strategists, people that made their money being Democratic strategists, and they were commenting as to how calm and peaceful the Republican National Convention actually was. And I'm sitting there, and then Cory Booker's out there telling everybody, we're not going to have this. We're not going to have the hatred and the vitriol and everything. I mean, they haven't even had their first speakers up there yet, and they're already torching each other.
Oh, yeah. You know what goes around? Hey, Joe, what goes around comes around, right?
Yeah, well, Rome is the mob. That's for damn sure. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what democracy looks like.
Yeah.
You know what? In all of you foreign countries, pay attention to what's happening here. You know what? You know what just happened in London? Maybe that's the peaceful country, huh?
I'm kind of wondering if it should continue this way. Apparently, see, here's the thing. One thing that we saw, that I saw this over the weekend, that we didn't see at the Republican National Convention, is that the Democrats have their own wall. They're building a wall outside of the center over there where they're having the convention in Philadelphia. And this wall looked, from what I could see of it, looked at least 10 feet tall. It was heavy iron mesh, and it's like really...
And electrified, I think.
Just think of it as reinforced chicken wire, I guess. But very, iron. You can tell they were putting this thing up so that it couldn't be torn down.
Well, you saw what the Democrats did to Hollywood Boulevard. They built a wall around Donald Trump's star and put a flag on it.
Yeah, well, I think Joe's onto something. I think Trump will pick up some of the Sanders supporters, because there are actually groups out there picketing right now are saying that we're going to vote for anybody but Hillary. It's anybody but Hillary, whereas on our side we have, of course, no Trump. Okay, that kind of thing. I think Gary Johnson will benefit from this, and Gary Johnson might be the spoiler in this thing. In a race that looks like it's going to go down to the wire, Johnson might be the one that determines who the winner is.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Before the Republican convention, Trump was trailing Hillary by 6 points. Now he's beating her by 6 points. That's a 12-point spread after the convention. Can you imagine what's going to happen with all this controversy today? I can't wait for the next polls to come out.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. The sad part for me is that I'm looking at Gary Johnson thinking, this guy doesn't look so bad now.
Little cream cheese never hurt anybody. Speaking of cream cheese, you want to talk about Tim Kaine?
Oh, Tim Kaine, yeah. Well,
I don't know. I don't have any gifts.
Mr. Personality.
I don't have any parting gifts to give him, so it's not going to like me.
Yeah, they took Tim Kaine because John Kasich just would not change parties.
Yeah, Jesus. Good Lord.
Settle down. It's going to be okay. We do this on Monday, huh?
Can you imagine how we're going to feel by Friday?
Oh, yeah. I tell you what, if this is any indication of what we're going to see during the week, I've got thrills going up my leg. All right.
You know what? I'm actually recording it on 3 different networks to make sure I don't miss anything.
Well, I was gonna try to avoid most of it this week, but after talking to Joe, I'm like, oh, now I can't miss. This is must-watch TV. This is gonna be
the best variety show we ever saw. This is gonna be it's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, this might make the 68 convention look like a love fest.
Yeah, you know what? It's with all kidding aside, with all the trouble that is going on today and yesterday and all over the world, and what's going on in Germany, what's going on all over the place, don't you just kind of hold your breath to figure out what's going on here now?
Yeah, well, we got to take our break right now. When we come back, we'll talk about Tim Kaine. Let's find out what I want to see what you got to say about this guy. I have very little to say about him. I mean,
well, I know very little about him, what I know about him is he's a Democrat, so that's already puts him on my list.
Yeah. Well,
anyway, we'll talk about it when we get back.
He's got his own little skeletons, and we'll talk about that when we get back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Okay, hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And hey, I was really kind of surprised that Bob was on top of this as far as the DNC, the noise that's already the slow rumbling of the democracy. Beginning to build to a crescendo. I wonder when the riots are going to start. You got any thoughts, Joe?
Well, if they do start, as you said, that fence that they put up around the Wells Fargo convention site is formidable, and so I don't see them getting close. But they will cause disruptions throughout the great
here with John and Joe.
Yeah. I'm just. This is going to be something to watch. They're not going to be. The Democrats are not going to be able to control this. They're not going to. I mean, all the effort they've made to pacify Bernie Sanders and his supporters, and now this is already. I mean, they're already front and center. They started picketing out there yesterday, and now they're blocking subways. They're shouting down the speakers. I mean. I have no idea how far this is going to go, but it's going to.
John, when you say they're not going to be able to control this, they're not controlling it now, and it's getting farther and farther away from them. They might as well just give up.
Well, this may be the first convention. They were talking about the fact that the Republican. This is the first time some of the people that have been following Republican conventions for a while. I think Shepard Smith was one I picked up on the quickest. He said, I've been covering these things for a long time. And this is the first time they've ever asked somebody to come in to speak at the convention that didn't endorse the candidate, and he was referring to Ted Cruz. Right. I'm beginning to wonder if this might be the first convention we ever have where the candidate doesn't actually show up.
God, wouldn't that be great?
Maybe they'll stream her in from Skype, from the basement of her Colorado apartment or something.
They'll book Bernie for a second night.
I'm just saying, I can just imagine her sitting there in some little basement somewhere, with and right next to her you see the little thing, a little machine, and it says server on it or something like that.
Well, John, don't you find it interesting that the Democratic National Convention and all this controversy would be over emails?
Oh yeah, well yeah, it is so telling, but the bigger question in my mind is simply this: with all this controversy over emails, and the denial. I was rereading the transcript with Scott Peller, who was talking with Hillary Clinton right after the FBI had said, yeah, she did everything wrong, she broke the law, but we don't think she should be prosecuted. And he asked her, he said, well, it was Charlie Rose. That's who it was, Charlie Rose. He says, well, they said what you did was sloppy. And she goes, no, he didn't say that. And she goes, I'm looking at it right here. He did say it. He said it was sloppy. And she goes, no, that's not what he meant. And how can anybody, you can be stoned to the gills and know that when somebody says something like that, that's what they were saying. And so I just think...
Well, you know that when Hillary analyzes something and says, no, you got it wrong, this is what he meant. When she says what he meant, that's got to be fact, right?
Well, that's why I always come back to that famous Bill Clinton line. It all depends on what is. It's like, it's the pendulum of relativity. And it's whatever it means, when it needs to mean, for whatever reason it needs to mean. And anybody that says, well, wait a minute, here's the absolute. This is the absolute. This has been documented. 30 million people watched this on TV. And this is what you said, and this is what you've done. And you look at those same people and you go, no, what you saw that's not what you saw, and that's not what you heard. and by the way, vote for me. It's because I only have your interest in heart. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
It's just amazing.
It's funny you say that, John, because that was one of the themes in the movie over the weekend.
Yeah. Bob, have you seen Dinesh D'Souza's movie yet, Hillary's America?
No, I haven't.
Joe went and saw it. In fact, he said he saw it twice over the weekend. And expound on that theme, Joe.
Well, it's like always. It's always the plan. Look, you want something, you can't have it, whether because you're too stupid or you're inept or it's just not ever going to be yours because it's just not going to be yours. But according to Hillary and her friends, hey, vote for me. I'll make that happen for you. And when it comes time to pay, don't worry about it. It's on them. The people she stole from to make it happen, i.e. taxpayers.
Well, like this conversation, the statement that she made down in Florida. Here's a perfect example, okay? She's down in Tampa, Florida, and she says, Donald Trump does not speak for anyone. And I'm thinking, okay, then were these people hired to go there? Were the 14 million votes, were those stolen Democrat votes or something? And he's not the voice, of disgruntled, disenfranchised Americans, okay? She says, then she goes on to say here, she says, he offered a lot of fear and anger and resentment, but no solutions about anything that he even talked about. And she then goes on to say, I don't think he speaks for working. Here's the Mott and Bailey. We talk about the Mott and Bailey, Joe. Here's the Mott. I don't think he speaks for working families who would be devastated by his reckless economic policies. What reckless economic policies? We don't even know what his economic policies are.
So here's the rumor that I'm hearing.
Uh-oh.
The rumor that I'm hearing is that Hillary is going to put Tim Kaine in charge of both domestic and foreign policy. I'm wondering what is she going to do?
Well, she's not going to do anything. That's the whole. And I'm glad you brought that up, Bob. I want to get your both of your opinions on this. My thing, I'm looking at the strategy here from this point on. Okay, how this is going to work. I think Donald Trump will pretty much campaign on his own. There'll be some, like he's doing a town hall with Mike Pence today, but I think pretty much he'll be in one direction and Pence will be in the other. On the other hand, I don't think you're going to see Hillary Clinton showing up anywhere anymore without either Tim Kaine or Barack Obama or Debbie Wasserman Schultz or somebody out there, her husband or whatever, somebody whose coattail she can hang on, because this campaign, they cannot really put Hillary in front of anybody. They really can't.
That's going to make the first debate interesting. Have you heard anything? I haven't heard anything about a date for the first debate.
No, I've heard there's going to be 3 of them. But I mean, what's your take on that? Joe, what do you think? Do you think that what we're going to see here, Hillary Clinton will not be campaigning solo?
Well, she's going to have to do something on her own. I mean, for crying out loud, she wants to be president of the United States. The first debate's going to be in September. It's going to be at on Long Island at university there. I can't remember what it was. But,
University of Hawaii.
No, it's in Long Island, Bob.
Oh, Long Island. I think oh, that's how sad is that?
Yes,
oh yeah, they have some good ice. They have some good iced tea up there.
Yes, yes. Jeez.
So she's going to get on stage and say, "I love your iced tea."
Well, you know, here she's in line with what you were saying, Bob. She's already said that Bill Clinton was going to handle the economy.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Now I'm thinking, what does Bill Clinton know about the economy? He's not the one that created the economy. But that aside,
I'd rather go with Robert Cardoso handling the economy.
Yeah.
Hey, I couldn't do any worse than anybody else.
Yeah, yeah.
Do better than me, Bob.
But the whole idea here is that we're talking about a woman that Barack Obama has said is the most qualified person in the history of the United States, maybe aside from Thomas Jefferson, who, by the way, was the original Republican.
Okay, well, let's get this straight. Okay, let's get this straight. She can't do emails, and the whole damn Democratic Party can't figure out email, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
How incompetent can you get?
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, we're going to run the country on BlackBerries like playing Pokemon, you know?
She's going to give us more material than we can use for the next year. You know that, right?
If I was Saturday Night Live writers right now, I would be drooling. This woman is going to, I mean, between the both of them, actually. I'm not going to, Trump is not without his own little, you know, idiosyncrasies.
Hey, guys, have you guys seen the play Cats?
The what?
The play Cats?
I have not seen that play, John, or Robert.
I'm Bob. John, have you seen Cats?
No.
Oh, man, you guys missed out. Fantastic play. And the reason I bring it up is there was this one cat called Cheshire Cat. I swear to God, Tim Kaines. Is it Tim?
Tim
Kaines looks just like that cat on Broadway.
No.
You know?
He's a sly little cat, is he?
Yeah, let's just hope he doesn't have 9 lives.
Well, Robert, you need to tell us about how people get a hold of you.
What? Are we out of time already?
Yeah, we are. We are, actually.
You know what? They can get a hold of me on your show this coming Friday at 3:30. But until then, I'm on every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. Go to my website at robertcardozo.live.com or get my app. That's the best way to get it. It's absolutely free. You can get it on the Apple Store or GooglePlay.com, either one. Just search Robert Cardozo Live. It's right there. You can listen to me live if I'm live or listen to any of my archive shows. And you can even listen to John on my show. Hey, guys, have a great week. I love being with you. We'll talk to you on Friday.
All right. You take care, my friend. Good night.
All right.
Okay, guys, yeah, it's time. I'm glad you caught that, Joe. I was just looked at the clock just as you opened your mouth. You're like, oh, wow, we're running out of there. We're at the top of the hour here. Time for the Edwards Notebook. We'll pay some bills, and we'll be back. We got more to talk about. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
The night Ted Cruz became Tiny Ted. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, no one in his or her right mind can deny the rancor that has transpired between Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump and contender Ted Cruz. Both men are guilty of slinging verbal arrows at each other during the often highly contested primary season. But the last time I checked, no matter what disagreements they may have with Donald Trump, the future of the United States is at stake. America is in the throes of an 8-year effort by President Obama and his fellow progressives, along with some Muslims, in many high government positions to fundamentally do away with American greatness. So to see Ted Cruz go against his own pledge to endorse the GOP nominee, no matter who it is, only continues the negativity storyline and takes away from the mission of uniting the party and preparing to defeat Hillary Clinton, who represents, at the very least, a third wretched term of Obama. and the possibility of harming our republic beyond repair. Ted Cruz has proven to be an egotistical, petty little man who, I believe, has proven beyond a doubt that the voters made the correct choice.
Well, isn't that special?
I'm Ron Edwards.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey, all you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
All right, hey, we're back. Hour two right here at the Conservative Syndicate, and I am your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. Hey, I wanna in our short segment here, okay. I want to just when we talk about rowdiness and everything else that's been going on, or it's taking place right now in Philadelphia.
Call it dissension.
Huh?
I would call it dissension.
Yeah, dissension. Okay. Yeah, dissension. That's a good word. Okay. I want to just expound on something. Last week, I think probably the most divisive event that we witnessed was, of course, Ted Cruz's speech in which he did not openly endorse Donald Trump.
Yes, I liked Ron Edwards' little notebook about that. That was awesome.
Yeah, and I had some really heavy discussions with people over the weekend about this. Many of my cohorts and people that I deal with, Ted Cruz is the guy. He's the man. Many of them believe that he will rise to eventually to become the voice of the conservative movement and this, that, and the other. And I couldn't help. I was pretty blunt in my assessment of things, that I thought what Ted Cruz did was uncalled for. I thought it was underhanded and uncalled for. He said, well, I came and spoke because Donald Trump asked me to. Well, if you had so much disrespect for Donald Trump, and if it was so much about principle, in my mind, he should have turned down the invitation.
Absolutely.
Okay, now, I was looking at the news early this morning when we got up, and there was a poll out there that I think echoed pretty much the sentiment. Going into the RNC, Ted Cruz had a 60% approval rating amongst Republicans.
Ah, okay.
You know what it was this morning?
Negative 90.
No, 33.
Oh, 33. Okay.
Yeah. So he lost almost half of those people who thought he was the guy. He was the man. And I don't know, this may be one of those things that just kind of goes by the wayside. But I don't, in my wildest imagination, believe that Ted Cruz did anything to advance his career. And the best argument I could get from one of my good buddies out there was, well, nobody ever said Ted Cruz was a people person.
Now, let's understand. Now, maybe in olden days, maybe the last part of the 20th century, he might have been able to get away with this because, there wasn't this thing called the internet, wasn't this thing called YouTube, or any of those other things that we know about social media today. Yeah. Now, people are going to be able to find this left and right all over because the internet is one thing, and that is forever.
Well, the other aspect of this, I did catch a clip of him over the weekend confronting the delegates from Texas.
Yes.
And it was a very mixed room. There were some people, my point is this. Okay, I understand the concept of standing on principle. We do that. Well, everything that we do on this show is based on principle, okay? But there comes a point where what good is your principle if you're the only person standing in the room when it's all over?
Yeah, or everything is burned down around you.
Yeah, and you're standing there touting your principle while everything, is up in smoke. The cinder blocks are torched or scorched and just ashes all over the place. And you can stand there and wave your little flag and say, but I stood on principle, okay? Now, I'm not saying, again, I'm just not saying that he should have kowtowed. I understand his explanation, and I agree with it 100%. I wouldn't have endorsed Trump had those kind of things been leveled at me and my family, but I wouldn't have had the audacity to show up.
I would have gone to his party and said, "Hey, you suck."
Yeah,
that's basically what he did. He said, "I don't like you. You suck. Thank you for inviting me to your party. The cake was great."
Yeah, he opened up his speech congratulating Trump for winning the nomination, and then turns around and pisses on the carpet. And I'm like,
you have everybody going, well, he gave us a lesson about the Constitution and conservative values and this and that. Okay, he could have done that in a whole other form.
Yeah, well, and you can do that every day of the week after the convention.
Yes, thank you. I mean, for crying out loud, if he really wanted to get somewhere in this world, and he wanted to make a point, he had to just say one thing, and that was, I want people to vote the Republican ticket.
Right. Even if he had come out and said something like this, just remember, people, we can't have Hillary in the White House. Just something like that, where we say, this idea of voting to conscience, that's like I've shared the story about talking to pastors, so they tell their congregation, well, vote the Bible. If that was that easy, my friend, you wouldn't have to be preaching every Sunday telling people what the Bible says.
Oh, dear Lord, God of the universe.
So
as they did today at the Democratic.
If his last words had been, vote the Republican ticket because we can't allow Hillary in the White House, I think people would have been okay with that.
Yes,
at least not as vitriol as they are. And I don't know if Ted Cruz really has damaged his chances of re-election for the Senate. He may have, because you can bet whoever's going to run against him is going to have those videos out there on a regular basis. And it's going to be all about principle. Yeah, okay. Ted Cruz can stand on his principle while the country burns to the ground.
As I said, the internet is forever.
Yeah. Anyway,
serious, it is forever. So it's not like you can run away from this. And it's amazing that the Democrats haven't been able to figure this out. This thing that's called email. It's not secure. People will be able to find these. I don't care. And if you say, well, the Russians got him, it was Donald Trump, and the Russians are for Donald Trump. Come on, really? Seriously.
At this point, who got the emails, how they were disclosed, whether it was hacked, whether a deal was made, whether they were bought or anything else, who the hell cares? If they're out there, they're out there, and how they were acquired is irrelevant.
It's what they said that's actually relevant, and what they said the Democratic Party said, we don't care about people voting. It doesn't matter because we have these super delegates, and we're going to make sure they all go to Hillary Clinton. We're going to make sure that Hillary Clinton is the nominee of the Democratic Party this year. Yeah. So all you people can go vote, but it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. Anyway, guys, we got to go to our break here, and it's time for Moments of Madness, and then we'll be right back and continue our discussion here. Pretty much, I really kind of want to focus as much as we can as to what we can expect to see over the next 4 days from the DNC. It may not take very long, but we'll see what we can do with it, okay? Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate on Moments of Madness. The leftist elite of Cleveland are breathing a collective sigh of relief. The impromptu safe spaces created at nearby Case Western Reserve University can now be redesignated for their proper purpose, that being the leftist think tanks and social engineering centers that a $64,000 a year tuition promises. These spaces were created to stave off any lasting effects of the dark and divisive vision, as Hillary Clinton framed it, inflicted upon them last week by the RNC convention. In like manner, pundits like MSNBC's Rachel Maddow by now have exorcised any spirits that might threaten their quasi-intellectual state. After having survived 4 days among mostly golden-aged, white, evil, heterosexual Christian Republicans, adorned in cowboy hats and brandishing campaign buttons, banners, and signs, so vile, Maddow felt it necessary to issue a viewer discretion advisory to the ultra-sensitive utopians that view her show before displaying them. But any reprieve leftists might feel right now from the worry, angst, and uncertainty that underscores the Republican Party's chances for success in this election cycle may be short-lived, because across the political horizon another dark storm is approaching. The ominous clouds of anarchy, formerly referred to as progressivism, ascend upon this city of brotherly love. Yes, the Democratic National Convention, which arrives in Pennsylvania this week, will bring their own assembly of ominous demons, led by that mistress of the dark, Lucifer's disciple, Hillary Clinton. But before you claim I need to be sprinkled in holy water, blessed by Jon Stewart, or exiled to the Westboro Baptist Church for insinuating Hillary hangs with Satan, let me explain. Politico's Todd Purdom poses perhaps the most politically incorrect question one could ask about Hillary Clinton in his latest column, Why Can't Hillary Stop Fudging the Truth? Purdom steps up his initially PC rhetoric, meaning fudging the truth, by framing the question more directly. What is it about this brilliant and accomplished woman, described by Barack Obama as possibly more qualified to be president than anyone in history, aside from perhaps Thomas Jefferson, that makes so many people certain she is an incurable liar? In other words, why does someone who many believe is qualified simply due to her presence over 40 years, absent any real accomplishments, have such a difficult time acknowledging reality and calling things as they are? This is a fair question, and one that needs to be answered. Here's the madness. The answer to Clinton's sociopathic nature is twofold. The simplest and unfortunately saddest answer is because lying works. Progressives tout the old adage, the end justifies the means. This is religious dogma to progressives. Progress, by their definition, is moving their agenda forward, regardless of any damage it inflicts upon American exceptionalism, heritage, moral fiber of our republic, and most important, our Constitution. Any collateral damage inflicted on our unalienable rights is outweighed by their belief once they accomplish their goal of creative destruction, everyone will be grateful for the sacrifice real equality mandates. Unfortunately, far too many buy into the means narrative due to their own moral bankruptcy. American exceptionalism possesses its own paradox in that our greatest strength is also our greatest weakness. When the concept of freedom perverts from opportunity and the responsibility it entails to entitlement void of any accountability, truth becomes a pendulum of relativity. The Clintons, as well as all true believing progressives, know this and have collectively modeled their entire political lives around perverting truth. The Clintons have made it an art form. Consider 7 in 10 Americans, even those supporting her, believe Hillary is dishonest, is politically and morally corrupt, and can't be trusted, yet she remains her party's nominee. Clinton supporters rationalize her low approval by claiming Donald Trump is viewed in the same light, with polls indicating Trump can't be trusted either. But mistrust of Trump is based on a lack of political sophistication, abrasive language, perceived sexism, and bigotry, as well as his wealth, not a marked propensity to embellish falsehoods to shield corruption. Mistrust of Trump is also credited to his white privilege, which actually in and of itself is proof progressives have bought into the lie produced by the very circles that claim the moral high ground. Ignored is the fact Trump's wealth was obtained through capitalism, referred to as greed by the left, while Clinton's was obtained while posing as a public servant. The second part of this answer is darker because it involves self-deceit, something found in the character of every liberal to some degree or another. Self-deceit is what ties liberals like Clinton and Obama to Lucifer. Self-deceit is what distances Obama and Clinton from each other, but is also what binds them together. Self-deceit is symptomatic of low self-esteem, which requires creating a world that in reality cannot exist in order to feel purpose. Low self-esteem is what drives the true believer to collectivism. Collectivism sedates the discomfort truth sometimes brings. These sociopathic attributes of collectivism will be on full display this week, as those who have profited from their lives will be paraded alongside those assigned the victim's role that feeds the perpetual discourse of dissatisfaction with God, country, and white America. Clinton will do her best to tout her tradition of lies and deceit as necessary for socio-economic equality. At the end of the week, we will have witnessed in all its delusional darkness the perfect storm. This is John Matthews for Moments of Madness. Hey, we're back. You're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos.
Yeah,
I hope you enjoyed that Moments of Madness.
Yes. John, so you're telling me that at the end of this week, we won't have the utopian enterprise that we are supposed to be guaranteed by the Democratic Party? It's going to be in the convention and we will not have utopia?
Yeah, I mean, it may be summed up and summarized amidst the burning embers of the Wells Fargo Bank down there. But that will be the message. That will be the message they carry forth.
You know, that's funny. You said with the Wells Fargo thing. So here, I want to go to this because this is John Kerry. John Kerry in Vienna on Friday said that air conditioners and refrigerators are a big threat to life as a big threat to life as the threat of terrorism posed by groups like ISIS. Okay, and hold on now. Kerry was in Vienna to amend the 1987 Montreal Protocol that would phase out hydrofluorocarbons, or HFCs, from basic household and commercial appliances like air conditioners, refrigerators, and inhalers. Here it goes. As we were working together on the challenge of ISIS and terrorism, Kerry said, it's hard for some people to grasp it, but what you are doing here right now is of equal importance because it has the ability to literally save life on the planet itself. So, yes, there's bad, evil air conditioners. Now, what I want to have happen there as with all that utopianism going on there in the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, I want the air conditioning shut down.
Yeah.
Shut it down. Shut it down. And I want the Syrian refugees, all 10,000 of them, to be rushed over to the Wells Fargo Center, give each one a fan so the Syrian refugees, the unvetted Syrian refugees, can just wave these fans about and keep these people cool.
You know, if that's the case, I see Democrats just don't think right. And the reason they don't think right is they never understand that what they're saying actually works in their favor. If they did it right, here's my thought.
Oh, no.
Okay? If what John Kerry said is true, okay, and I'm just playing the devil's advocate here, okay, air conditioners lead to cancer, okay?
You keep this in mind. I want you, but
Yeah.
keep on going.
They're destroying the climate, and they're going to lead to cancer like cell phones, that kind of stuff. Then I would think the best way to disassemble or to destroy ISIS is to send all our air conditioners over there. Okay, and say, look, guys, we want peace. We know that the problem here, climate change has made it your average temperature 121 degrees instead of 120, and we know that combined with the bad economy and the lack of jobs has brought about this disgruntled disenfranchisement that has made you inspired you to go out and destroy everybody that doesn't have an air conditioner. Or that has an air conditioner, okay? So let's give it, and let's let all these vapors and everything else are talking, just destroy these people that way.
Yes, I can't believe the air conditioners sent these lunatics, these savages over the edge.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Let's understand something. These are closed systems. They do not. It does not go out into the air. When you run your refrigerator, it does not go out into the atmosphere. If it goes out into the atmosphere, your refrigerator is broke.
Yeah, and here's an even greater thought. You brought it up here. I wonder what the temperature in that room was when John Kerry was giving that.
I'm sure it was a nice, balmy 72 degrees.
Well, it's the same reasoning that has Al Gore traveling the world, leaving carbon footprints everywhere he goes to talk about the damages of carbon footprints.
And, he said this on Friday, and I went out on Saturday, and I was mowing the yard, and I just kept on looking over at my my air conditioner out there going, I hope that thing doesn't come over here and chop my head off.
Yeah. Yeah, air conditioners around the world unite, okay? You can take down humanity if you just unite, and all drop your temperatures down to 50 degrees simultaneously.
Yes, and so the reason why I brought it up is these are the policies that Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine are going to go ahead and advocate for if they become elected in November and become president and vice president. This stupidity will be allowed to carry on.
Yeah,
and we'll have to put up with it.
Now, speaking of stupidity here, I want to talk about a couple things here. I want to close up this thing with the emails with the that has brought Wasserman Schultz down, and I'm just surprised that in her speech that you read to us earlier, that she didn't just say Debbie Wasserman Schultz showed that she was not sophisticated enough to understand that she was doing anything wrong. That would have been...
No, she did exactly what Hillary Clinton wanted to do. And if you watched the 60 Minutes interview that was on after the 60 Minutes live or the broadcast, it was the online portion of 60 Minutes, what did Hillary Clinton do? She denied, and you never give up the con. Again, one of the points that came out in D'Souza's movie. You never give up the con, and you deny. And haven't we heard Hillary Clinton do nothing but deny forever now?
Yeah. And we're not talking about denying that she didn't do anything wrong. What it is she denies that she was called for doing something wrong.
Oh, she was denied that she even knew any of this happened.
Yeah.
And when he brought it up in that interview, it was like the first time she ever heard. I didn't know anything about that, to the point where he went on TV this morning saying, yeah, I read her body language, and it pretty much looked like that was the first time she ever heard that.
Yeah.
Really? Are you kidding me? Hey, I got some bridges I want to sell you. I own those.
Well, I was thinking, over the weekend I read an article. It was called the Missing... What was it called? The Missing something or other. But it was an article that was written about Brian Pagliano. Okay? The Missing Witness, I think, was the name of the article. And the author, I don't remember who the author of it was, but what it basically, to kind of sum up what the article was about, was the fact that Brian Pagliano is actually like the missing link. And because of his unwillingness, even though he was granted immunity, his unwillingness to basically come out with a clean slate and say, yeah, this is what I did, and this is why I did it, and this is who told me to do it, that he was basically the one that would have cemented all the pieces together that would have brought Hillary Clinton down. And, I got to thinking, I wonder if this guy was tied in with the Wasserman Schultz stuff. I mean, was he consulted at any point in time? I mean, it's irrelevant at this point, but the point being is, when we talk about things, and then we have to revisit this idea that James Comey, FBI director, brought up about, well, we don't know if the Russians hacked her or not. Well, if they can hack the DNC, which was a secured server, and what makes you think that they couldn't hack Hillary Clinton's email server, which was not secured?
Well, Mr. Pagliano is no security expert, obviously. He just knows how to set up a computer and an email server, which you can learn how to do by YouTube video if you really want to.
There had to be more than one email sent by Hillary Clinton to the DNC.
Do you think? Maybe. I don't know, John. I don't know, John. I'm going to, I was doing some, because I pulled up the link to the WikiLeaks, and you can search these emails ad nauseum if you'd like to. There's only 20,000 of them.
Yeah. Well, I may scan it.
That's really crazy. I mean, talking about Harry Reid's CNN interview, blah blah blah. I mean, just some crazy stuff out there. But I mean, they are there. If you do a search for like "damn liar," you get 7 results.
Well, you had mentioned at the beginning of the show the invocation that was being offered by a pastor at the DNC opening, and she was booed and that kind of jeered kind of stuff. Yes. And we find out in these emails, some of the emails have to do with Bernie Sanders' faith. They were actually thinking about using his atheism or his perceived atheism. And here's the irony of it. Bernie Sanders claims to be Jewish. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is Jewish. And here we are, and what is she's out there? Well, how are we going to strategize to bring up the issue that maybe Bernie Sanders is not a God-fearing American? And I'm, in my mind, I'm sitting there going, why would you even do that? Why, as a party who has developed a platform that with each plank removes God from the center of everything, and now you're going to go after somebody? Is it because he claimed to be a democratic socialist? Is that how you're going to water that down? Is that how you're going to destroy it?
Well, here's how. They were trying to stop him from winning.
Yeah.
Delegate. Here, I got the email. I'm looking at it right now. It's from May 5th, 2016 at 0:31. And the subject is no Shiites. You can make up your own mind what that actually is. And it says, it might make no difference, but for Kentucky and West Virginia, can we get someone to ask his belief? Does his belief in a God? Does he believe in a God? Has he had skated on saying he has Jewish heritage? I think I read he is an atheist. This could make several points of difference with my peeps. My Southern Baptist peeps would draw a big difference between a Jew and an atheist. And this is from Mr. Miller at the DNC.
Wow. And then adds on there, it's a Jesus thing.
Oh, yes. As you get back to it, yes, it's a Jesus thing.
Yeah, and there's the party has been working on this platform openly for the last 4 years to remove God and Jesus and Israel and everybody else involved from their platform. The whole LGBT community movement is about removing God. The whole Black Lives Matter is about not removing God, but replacing it with black liberation theology. It's all about removing God, and these people thought they were going to score points with the Baptists by saying, oh, Bernie Sanders might be an atheist. You know, they destroyed him. That killed him with the Democratic Socialist stuff. The only people that love Bernie Sanders are socialists.
Yes,
okay?
Absolutely. So do you think Amy K. Dacey, Chief Executive Officer, Democratic National Committee, who replied to this email at 1:33 a.m. in the morning, it's a Jesus thing?
Yeah, it's a Jesus thing.
You think she has any accountability on this at all? I mean, yeah, Wasserman Schultz is taken off, but this seems to be a lot more than just one person, Miss Medusa Schultz. I believe there's other people here that are in the higher. I mean, she's Chief Executive Officer of the Democratic National Committee. Reply to this email.
Yeah. Well, we got to go to a break here. When we come back, we're going to continue this. We're going to touch on some of these other emails here, just so you get a pulse of what's happening. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest. Who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923 and like them on Facebook and you'll be included in contest and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quantity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame he owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get the Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world, then bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too. So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 866-657-8474, 866-657-8474, 866-657-8474, 866-657-8474.
All right, hey, we're back. Listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews. We do want to encourage you to visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. Pick up our archives of this. Well, you can pick up this show or any of our archives. Find out anything you want to know about our show, what we do, and why we do it. The people involved, everything is there. Theconservativesyndicate.net. I want to get to these a couple more of these emails here that were divulged and brought down, at least temporarily, has put Debbie Wasserman Schultz in her place. Of course, she's actually been elevated, if you want to call it that, from former DNC chairperson to honorary chairperson of the Clinton campaign. Now, honorary usually means we give you a seat at the table, but you're just there to wave. Okay?
Yeah, she's not unemployed. She's still a sit-in congresswoman, and so she's trying to get reelected. So poor Debbie's not going to be out in the street in a bread line somewhere, okay?
Yeah. So what they're doing is basically trying to endorse her, trying to lend any weight that Hillary Clinton can to her campaign, kind of like a payback. In fact, kind of like the payback that Hillary Clinton is getting right now for supporting Barack Obama in 2008.
Oh, absolutely. It sounds just about right. So never give up the con. Deny, deny, deny. Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, and you would have. We were talking about these emails. So I find these interesting, John. Hillary says, I don't know anything about these. And so I'm looking at this email, and the title of the email is, let me go up the top here, is R.E. Brad, is the building aware of this, is what this is. And if you go down to it's an email chain. Remember email chains from the Comey investigation? The chains of emails? That means they went on for on and on between people and people and people. Okay, so we're talking about Hillary Clinton. Actually, we're talking about, now remember, this is the Democratic National Committee. Understand, the Democratic National Committee is supposed to be this unbiased arbitrator that lifts up all Democratic candidates to get elected. It's not supposed to pick winners and losers, just gives everybody an equal shot at their election, and if people choose to pick them, that's what happens. That's what the Democratic National Committee is supposed to do, just like the Republican National Committee.
Yeah, and both of them have their biases. We've heard in the past of the RNC doing something like trying to pull funds to people that didn't want to toe the line, kind of thing.
Do you think these people that that aren't pulling for Donald Trump now might get their funding pulled or something like that? Absolutely. I mean, come on. This is how this is played. But this is from the RNC, the upper echelons of party, and they're talking about Hillary Clinton, and they're talking about all these news reports. Blue Nation News, Melissa McCune accusing Hillary Clinton of money laundering and looting, despite the fact that the Hillary Victory Fund has already given approximately $4 point something million to state parties. Okay, now let's remember that Hillary Victory Fund, that's usually stuff that's done after the person gets enough delegates to become the nominee or becomes the actual nominee. All right. She did this a year in advance.
Well, we know this. I mean,
this is my point, though.
Okay.
So I wanted to give some context to this. All right.
Okay.
So there's all these news reports out there, right? And they're talking about that. So what happens? Our little friend, let's see, this is going to a Graham Wilson and Luis Miranda and our friend up here who happened to be Amy Dacey, the chief executive officer at the DNC, Democratic National Committee. My suggestion, and this is Mark E. Elias. All right, his suggestion is that the DNC put out a statement saying that the accusations of the Sanders campaign are not true. The fact that CNN notes that you aren't getting between the two campaigns is the problem. Here, Sanders is attacking the DNC and its current practice. It's past practice with the POTUS and with Secretary Kerry. Just as the RNC pushes back directly on Trump over rigged system, the DNC should push back directly at Sanders and say that what he is saying is false and harmful to the Democratic Party. And in response, the chief executive officer goes, I do think there is too much of this narrative out there. I also worry, since they are emailing to their list, which overlaps ours, it would be good to push back.
Yeah, so this here's the crux. This is the crux of the Democratic strategy when caught with their pants down, is that you just deny. You just deny. Yep. And this plays out so often, is that something is floated out there. It might be at a press conference. It might be at a town hall meeting. It might be
last night on television with Scott Pelley going, that's the first time I ever heard this. I've never knew anything about these emails. What email leaks? The DNC has an email problem? I never knew. I deny. And that's right out of D'Souza's movie. He picked up on that, and boom, it's absolutely, we're looking at the playbook right here.
Yeah, and here let's kind of review here, just so those of you listening out there have an understanding of why it's done this way. When you come out and you deny, what you've done is you have bought time. And that's what everything is about. It's about buying time. When we talked last week, I mentioned the fact that Hillary Clinton's campaign, they're trying to stop anything else happening in terms of disclosures or anything else. Disclosures about her aides, her staff and stuff like that. And the argument is, because we're in the throes of a campaign, we can't afford this right now. That's the thinking. That is the thinking. But that's what they're out there. Just okay. We got to slow it down. The process is going too fast. People are finding out things too soon, and there's too many people finding it out. So what you do is you get out there and you just deny it. We don't know anything about this. Why? This is the first time hearing of it. No, it's just an outright lie.
Well, okay. then the next thing is going to be, and I'm sure we can find this in here, where you blame the people that accuse you. You actually blame them. That's their fault. And you watch and see if they don't blame Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, and Bernie Sanders was trying to undermine and circumvent. If that doesn't work, what they'll have to do then is the next step in the process is to try to find a scapegoat. Let's find some disgruntled rogue campaign person out there, or a member of the DNC that works, in the 32nd floor or down in the basement in the mailroom, who just happened to say it was just disgruntled because they didn't get a promotion or something, and they're out there to conspire against Hillary Clinton or Debbie Wasserman Schultz or somebody else.
Yes,
so they got to find a scapegoat, and that's what the other things do.
Stapler, and that's what happened. They need a scapegoat, and then the building burned down.
Yeah, and see, Brian Pagliano was the scapegoat. The thing is, he realized he was a scapegoat, and he just said, "I ain't saying nothing."
Yeah, exactly. You deny. Never give up the con, and you deny, and then when you can, and if you have to, you blame the people that are actually bringing the charges against you.
Yeah, and one of the most common phrases you hear, especially out of the Clinton campaign, when they're confronted with facts, or they're confronted with insinuations, or they're just asked right out, what do you know about this? Do you know anything? One of the most common responses, or the most common response, is there's no evidence of this. See, that it's not denying. They won't deny in the pure sense of the word sometimes. Once you get painted into a corner, they'll deny initially. But once you get painted into the corner, the hacking of the email server.
Well, here's the other thing.
Okay,
John. Here's the other thing, John. What they do is they go when the facts are finally brought out to bear, you'll find that this is this and this and this and this and this. You know, when the facts are finally brought out.
Yeah, and what they'll do is, like I said, using the case of hacking. Okay, FBI Director Comey says what? Well, we believe that the servers may have been hacked, but we have no evidence of it. And so, what's the argument that comes out of the Clinton campaign? Well, the email server wasn't hacked because they don't have any evidence of it. Okay, it's not that. It's not saying, well, it could have been hacked, but there's no evidence. No, it wasn't hacked because they have no evidence of it. And so you take the words and you twist it, and just a little bit, just enough so that nobody can accuse you of lying, but it still accomplishes the purpose. It still gets you looking the other way. Yeah, well, prove to me that we did it. Okay, prove to me that we did it. That's what they're saying.
Right now, John, I need to prove to you right now that we need to go to a break.
Oh, yes, we do. Okay, we'll be right back, guys. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And just again, quick reminder, visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. I want to get back to this whole idea, what we're talking about here, in terms of the emails that have been disclosed that obviously nobody knew about, but everybody wrote. Okay, and we were talking just before the break about how they're played off, how you just basically just deny, and along with that is also the spin. It's deny, spin, and then blame, and then all that collectively becomes yesterday's news, and that's the ongoing strategy. When you ask a lot of people about the email scandals now, what you'll hear is, "Oh, I'm so sick and tired of hearing about this." That's exactly the objective. Is to get everybody so sick and tired of listening about it that you just don't want to hear it anymore, and it just gets filed away. And it joins the other things out there in that vast right-wing conspiracy file that is only brought back to the public's attention when it's politically expedient to do so. Now, I want to talk about this interview that took place over the weekend at 60 Minutes between Hillary Clinton and Scott Pelley. You'll remember Scott Pelley is the guy who asked Hillary Clinton point blank, "Have you ever lied?" And she said, "Well, I try to tell the truth." Okay, never answered the question. I try to tell the truth. Okay, and I try to level with the American people. Now, the typical Clinton answer. Not going to say yes or no. Okay, here he is. I'm just going to read you the transcript of the conversation took place, and they're talking here about her lack of trust in the eyes of the American public. Scott Pelley says this: "I was speaking to a young African-American man just the other day in a Democratic state, and he said, and I'll quote, 'You know, I guess I would vote for Hillary except for that corruption problem,' end quote. As I talked to him further, he didn't know quite what he meant by that. But that was his impression and concern. That means here is the general perception. It falls right in line with people that think Hillary Clinton was a great Secretary of State, but can't tell you anything that she's done. It falls right in line with people that will tell you things like, yeah, she's been in Congress and she's been around so long she must know what she's doing, but they can't tell you anything that she's done. Okay, that guy, Dianne Feinstein. Well, she was only a senator for 9 years. That's not enough time to do anything. Okay, Barack Obama, though, tells us she's the most qualified person since Thomas Jefferson. But nobody can name anything that she's done. So Pelley asked her this: why do you think people say that about you? She says, well, first, I will take responsibility for any impression or anything I've ever done that people have legitimate questions about. But I think that it's fair to say there's been a concerted effort to convince people like that young man of something. Nobody's quite sure what, but of something. I often feel like there's a Hillary standard and there's the standard for everybody else.
That's absolutely true, i.e. some email classification system.
Yeah, so now I just dissect that statement just for a moment here. She says, first of all, I will take responsibility for any impression or anything I've ever done that people have legitimate questions about. What she's saying is, I will take responsibility for the fact that I got caught. That's really what she's saying. It's just like Bill Clinton. You know, we're always back to this. It all depends on what is. Yeah. I didn't have sexual intercourse with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. I had oral copulation with that woman, but that's not intercourse, and therefore it's not sex.
Yeah, there goes the family rating.
Okay, now she goes on. I think it is fair to say there's been a concerted effort to convince people like that young man of something. Convince them of what? Nobody's quite sure what. Yeah, we're quite sure of what we're trying to be, what we're convinced of, and that is you're corrupt and you're crooked and you're evil. Okay, now
have integrity.
Now Pelley goes on and asks her, well, what's the Hillary standard? And Clinton says, well, it is, a lot of, as you at the Republican convention, unfounded, inaccurate, mean-spirited attacks with no basis in truth. Reality which takes on a life of its own. And for whatever reason, and I don't want to try to analyze the reasons, I see it, I understand it. People are very willing to say things about me, to make accusations about me that I don't get upset with about them anymore, but they are very regrettable. So what she's saying is basically, people just like to say things about me that are inaccurate and untrue and mean-spirited.
I don't know. I think the FBI director laid out a statement in front of the world and God and said everything, this is stuff that she has done, he has investigated, she has done. And then he just let us hanging by not saying, well, I don't think she should be prosecuted for it.
But
I'm sorry, these were facts he found, evidence that he found, but those are just what? How did she phrase it, John?
Well, they're unfounded, inaccurate, mean-spirited attacks with no basis in truth.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that mean-spirited FBI director. Then.
Well, let's just examine the adjectives here.
Oh,
unfounded. It was documented that she compromised the security information. It was documented that she used an unclassified or an unsecured server. This is not unfounded.
Yeah,
and it's not inaccurate.
And then it's like, hey, you had it there. Why did you have it? For your convenience. And what happened to these emails you deleted? Did you wipe the server? And she goes, just really deftly, like with a cloth? She knows exactly what you're talking about. So unfounded allegations?
Yeah. So we're sitting here saying this FBI director laid everything out. This is what we found. We found she compromised information. We found she used an unsecured server. We found that she lied about having permission to use it.
Yes, that's right. She said there was no classified information either went to or came from that server.
Yeah. So, what she says here is that she takes responsibility for any impression that she's made on anybody. But it's all unfounded, inaccurate, and mean-spirited just for the sole purpose of taking her down.
Oh, because, yes, everybody just hates her because she's her. She's such a sweet, loving grandmother, and she would never lie to anybody's face and say, we're going to get those people that killed your son.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get those people. It's all because of a video, though. Okay, yeah. Please, but we'll get them.
I heard a clip of her over the weekend giving one of her speeches, and the little clip that they pulled out of it, she was looking at the crowd. You'll always have a seat at the table if I'm in the White House.
Oh, yes, I heard that too. Yes, that's if you pay enough for that seat.
Yeah. Or the seat, and we're not going to tell you where the seat at the or the table is. It won't be where I'm at. It may be down in the cellar. But the whole point here is this is just outright fabrication of saying everything that has been documented and proven is not true.
Well, I want you to also understand, John, that our friends in the media are going to go ahead and support her. Here, I'm looking at an email, in the WikiLeaks email, and this is from a Ross Barkin, who was trying to write a story for Reuters, and he wants to get an interview with Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I'd love to speak with Debbie Wasserman Schultz for a few minutes if possible. My hard deadline is Wednesday, May the 4th. I would like to get there before then. And he sends it off to an Eric Walker, who sends it up to Mark Pusenbach and Luis Miranda, and he talks about what do you think? He's not an incredibly aggressive reporter, so I think the interview will be okay, and I think a no comment would look bad. He's kind of giving us an out with the Sanders success shows, and the Democratic Department is healthy as ever line. Can we talk about we have disagreements under the big tent, but to come together, Dems won popular votes to 5 out of 6 elections. Polling shows we have energized the party while the R's are divided, etc. Also, FYI, he left the New York Observer over the Trump endorsement, so he's more on our side than theirs. Yeah. This is the DNC. This is talking about the media. Our side than theirs.
Yeah, our side and theirs. Now here, let's close this. We're almost out of time here. I want to close this just by reiterating what she says here. She says, I will take responsibility for any impression or anything I've ever done that people have legitimate questions about. Okay? Now, what she's saying is she'll take responsibility for an impression of corruption or for any actions that people have legitimate questions about. But she doesn't have, what she's saying is she doesn't have an honesty or corruption problem. It's just the impression that people get. Okay? And she takes responsibility for legitimate questions, but apparently for questions she deems illegitimate. Like, why do you have this impression in the first place? So this is the double speak. Just thing is filled with Moulton Bailey and double speak and everything else. But it's just this is what we're going to hear this week about Hillary Clinton. It's that the world hates her because she's just so damn efficient and good at what she does.
Yes, absolutely. Except she can't figure out email.
And because she's a woman, the white men out there don't like it. That's what this is going to be about. Anyway, guys, we've come up to the end of the show here. It's time for us to move on. We'll be back tomorrow with more. I'm sure by tonight, once tonight's over, we're going to have a whole list of new stuff to talk about tomorrow. God bless you all. We love you. Visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. We'll talk to you tomorrow. for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's theconservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best in uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, along with Joe Hako, signing off until next time right here at the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.